last class, we finished off talking about what is time. We spoke about how do you define time, right? We tend to think of it as linear, as it's something we just pass through. And the holidays are just something that we're commemorating, a day that something happened here. But we gave a few understandings of it. Two of them was, first of all, time is cyclical. It moves through us. Every single year we have, and each moment in time has its own unique opportunity for us to grab onto something, okay? There's a spiritual energy in time, in the months, and in the holidays. We spoke about how time itself is possibility, right? It's actually infinite in terms of what you do with it. You can have an hour and just watch TV, or you can have an hour and do something that's productive, or it can be productive, right? Time is like elastic. It's very elastic in the sense that it stretches as much as you want it to stretch. And the last thing we spoke about was each holiday, what are we celebrating? What are we commemorating on each holiday? What happened on Shavuos? What happened on Passover? What happened on all these holidays? It actually happened one time. It happened one time in history. We got the Torah. That was Shavuot. It happened one time in history. We were freed from slavery in Egypt. That's Passover. And every single year, we almost get off this little train. We almost get off this little bus at that bus stop called Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah, etc., etc. I'm going to speak today about, we're actually not starting from the beginning because there are some people who were here when I did Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and I didn't want to repeat it for them. So we're going to start off with speaking about Tu B'Shvat. What do we know about Tu B'Shvat? Did anyone here ever heard? Anyone here not heard of Tu B'Shvat before? You don't know what it means. I love the honesty. We don't know what Tu B'Shvat means. Okay. Who does know what Tu B'Shvat means? Okay, good. We're on a good start. Have you? No?
It's the 9th of Shvat. I don't know. The 9th of the month, right? The Shvat.
15th, yeah.
15th. And isn't it just commemorating the destruction of...
Right, so it's close. It's hard. That's Tisha B'Av.
Oh.
It sounds very familiar. It sounds very similar. Tisha B'Av is Tesha, right? Echad, Shtayim, Shlosh, Arba, Chamesh, Shesh, Sheva, Shmona, Tesha. Tesha is 9. So that's the 9th of Av, which is commemorating the destruction. Tu B'Shvat is actually the 15th. It's the 15th of the month of Shvat, which falls out usually around January time. It's right after Hanukkah. Okay, have you heard of the holiday where we celebrate the trees, we eat fruits? Okay, yeah? Okay, nice. Okay, Rosh Hashanah we eat the apple and the honey for a sweet year. That holiday is Tu B'Shvat. Some people like teaching it as it's like the Jewish like hug your tree day. It's not true, right? They teach the idea from us. But it is the day where we celebrate the New Year's for the trees. We're going to discuss what that means. However, it is the 15th. 2 is just the numerical value of Tu B'Shvat. So it's the 15th of Shvat. Let's just give the basics, then we'll discuss it. This is when we start counting the New Year's for the trees. Why does it matter when we start counting the New Year's for the trees? Any ideas? Rhymes with Meiser.
I was thinking about Shemitah.
Hmm?
I was thinking about Shemitah.
Yes, Shemitah. Meiser. Meiser is the same thing. Meiser, yeah. Shemitah. Shemitah is, it was a trick question. Meiser rhymes with Meiser, just repetitive. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, if I'm speaking Amish to you, tell me. Yeah? Okay. Are you familiar with this thing called Shemitah?
No.
No. We'll say it very briefly. It's only applicable, the reason why you don't know of it is probably because you don't live in Israel, right? Shemitah is every Jewish landowner, we're not really going into the actual laws of it, yeah?
You know, is it like every 7 years?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, thank you. Okay, Every 7 years, the Jewish landowners need to completely stop working their fields. And it's actually really cool. They still do that today. And you see signs across Israel saying, this land is Shemitah, right? This land is, what does the farmer do? The farmer literally stops working his land. Why? It's a year of rest for the land. Just like every 7th day is Shabbat, every 7 years is something called Shemitah. Why is Tu B'Shvat important? Bella, it's your job to tell me to slow down. Why is Tu B'Shvat important? Because first of all, in terms of Shemitah, needing to know when every Shemitah cycle is, and also the Jewish people need to tith, need to meiser, need to give charity from their land, okay? And that they start counting, when does the year begin? We start counting. When does the Jewish New Year begin? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, right? Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year. Okay, and now we know, now we're in 5776. In 2 weeks, it's going to be 5777 from the creation of the world, okay? So Tu B'Shvat, how do I know when I should start every 7 years resting? Oh, it's Rosh Hashanah for the new year, for the trees again. It's a new year for the tree, that's what Tu B'Shvat is. We're going to move past the technicalities in a minute.
So it's important because we give the land rest.
We give the land rest, and they need to tith it. They need to give certain parts of the field to charity. Ava.
Like every 7 years, like let's say I plant a tree today, then like 7 years from now, I can't like work with it, or is it just like?
Not personally. It goes according to like the Jewish cycle. So it's not like 1 year this land and 1 year that land. It goes according to there's an annual cycle. It doesn't vary from farm to farm. In Israel, it's a Shemitah year. Israel has a Shemitah year. Why is this the New Year's for the trees? Because it's in Shvat that the sap starts going up the bark. It starts going up the tree, and that's when the fruits begin to bloom. But the trees actually don't bloom yet. The sap just starts going up. That's Tu B'Shvat in a nutshell. That is the New Year. Pretty clear, pretty basic. We're celebrating trees. Okay. Tell me if this is true or not true, and I want to hear why. This is a quote from William Blake. Those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained. I'll repeat that. Those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained. Agree, raise your hand. Disagree, raise your hand. Those who didn't raise their hand, raise your hand. I like the honesty. Yes. Those who restrain desire do so because theirs is weak enough to be restrained. Agree. Disagree. 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 Disagree, 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 disagree. Agree. Disagree. Disagree. Agree. Disagree. Agree. So agree, and you said agree? You said disagree, sorry. Okay, the two of you stand in this corner. All right, let's hear. I'm joking. Let's hear. Yeah. You're confused. Should I repeat the quote?
No, I'm going to write it down and then I'm really going to think about it. It's very interesting.
No, I like that you disagree. We need some balagan going on here. No. Keep it. Yes. Those who restrain desire do so because their desire is weak enough to be restrained.
Oh, agree, absolutely.
You agree absolutely?
I think it means that they're strong enough to. Oh, I guess they're stronger than their desire. So that means their desire is weak. Oh, I don't know.
You don't know. Think. Okay, let's hear. Yes, Bella.
Okay, I disagree.
You disagree. Why?
I can restrain my.
We're all going to listen to each other.
Okay, so I can disagree. I can restrain from desire, but it doesn't mean my desire to do something is weak. Iman?
Then what does it mean?
So this means.
Hevanti.
Okay, so I can have this desire, for example. Not I'm saying that I do.
She's perfect. She doesn't have any desires. Theoretically, if Bella had desires, give us an example.
No, for example, if I have a desire to take something that isn't mine, right, it doesn't mean my desire is weak. I'm overcoming something that I don't want.
Okay. Ray, what do you say about that?
So I agree because when I think of desire, I don't think of just like a desire to steal something or a desire to like talk to someone or whatever. I think of like a desire as in like a goal, like a dream, like a big picture desire. So I think that if somebody is really, really focused on their big goal or their big desire to make $1 million or to become president or just like a huge like big term goal, I think if their desire is strong enough and they 100,000 million% believe that they can like accomplish that desire, then there's no way it can be restrained.
But you're saying the opposite of the quote. I agree with what you're saying.
That's restrained desire, do something to desire. Yeah, so people who restrain their desire.
They're saying it's only because it's weak enough. Only because my desire is weak enough. What you're saying is true, meaning it's only because you're saying it's only because my desire is so strong.
There's no way that it can be weak.
Right, exactly. It's so strong. I agree with what you're saying, but I think we're speaking of two different. I think it's contradicting the quote. Yeah, I think it's saying the opposite actually. But I think you are saying what Bella's saying, just in opposite terms.
Desire is weak enough to be restrained. If you have a very strong desire, it can't be weak enough to be restrained, so it won't be restrained.
Or you're strong.
So you're saying that you don't agree with it.
I don't know.
Or you're strong enough to restrain it. It doesn't mean your desire is weak enough.
He is saying, let's give an example. We're speaking in theory. Who can give me an example? No, we cannot. It's enigmatic for a reason, right? Who can give an example of a desire? Chocolate cake, does that speak to us? Yeah. You're thinking chocolate cake. Really? Women were thinking of chocolate cake? Okay. I have a desire for chocolate cake. Ray, I like where you're going big term desire. Let's speak in simple man's terms. A desire for chocolate cake. I really want chocolate cake. I am not going to have a chocolate cake. Mrs. Gersht, the only reason you were able to restrain that desire of eating the chocolate cake is because your desire was weak enough. Your desire was weak enough to be restrained. It was too weak. That's why I was able to restrain it. As opposed to, I have a desire for chocolate cake. I'm eating the chocolate cake. Mrs. Gersht, why did you eat it? Because my desire wasn't weak enough. It was too strong, so I had to eat it.
I think your desire, yeah. Me too.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Your desire could be as strong as possible. It depends on you want to give into your desire.
Yes, but Ray, you were saying something different. Or was it You're saying the same thing.
You were too weak, like you gave into it.
Your desire isn't weak. Your desire isn't weak.
Okay, so I think it was a misunderstanding of the quote. Yeah. Okay, yes. Ina, right?
You usually would give in or not give in depending on what your goals are. Like if you have something bigger than I'm not gonna eat chocolate cake because I know I'm gonna get sick even though I love it. I love chocolate cake. Like I love ice cream and it's I cannot stay away from it, right? I just love it so much and so but I know that if I eat too much, I'm gonna be sick. So I set myself a limit because I know I've been so sick and I don't want to feel like that anymore.
So it's not that you don't desire the ice cream, it's because you restrain yourself.
It's because and that's because there's something greater than that makes me it's a negative thing, but it's bigger. I feel sick, so I'm gonna take myself back from it, so it's there's something usually
higher than the desire.
Than the desire, but it doesn't mean that this is weak. It means that there's something else.
It's stronger than that.
Stronger.
Just because I can restrain it doesn't mean that the desire is weak. It just means that I rose above it. Rachel?
I was just thinking the examples we're talking about right now kind of emphasizing this point because we're talking about very weak desires. We're talking about chocolate cake and things like that.
Is that a weak desire? Well, I'm sorry. If chocolate cake is a weak desire, it's not always such a weak desire.
I was just thinking about the Holocaust survivors when they first came out of the camps and they were offered bread and they couldn't stop themselves eating too much and a lot of them passed away because they ate too much, their bodies couldn't cope with it. That was such a strong desire.
That's not a desire. That's a necessity.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a necessity. They were starving. It's not.
Well, the necessity would
Desire insinuates something that you don't need. Desire insinuates, I really desire food, right? There's a difference between a need and a want. A desire is a want. Food in the Holocaust is a need.
No, so the need would have been to have one slice, but then the desire was because they'd been restrained so strongly for so long, they were eating the whole loaf.
Let's not bring the Holocaust. Yeah, Holocaust is too heavy.
They're malnourished. I'm not gonna if I didn't eat for weeks and weeks at a time, I'm not just gonna just slice of bread. Okay, I'm full. I'm gonna eat the whole loaf. I'm gonna drink the whole liter of water.
Hannah, comments. Comments. You said you disagree with the quote. Why?
Because it's about your self-control. It's not do you want to do this or not. It's some inner thing that you can pull towards, and it's hey, is this the best thing for me? Probably not, even though I really want this. I'm going to control myself and hold back because everything's better when you wait for it. That's a different topic. What I'm saying is it's just how much self-control you have.
Everyone hear that? Are we all saying the same thing? Rachel disagrees. You disagree. Let's hear. We want to hear why. We don't want to pressure you. We don't want to pressure you. We'll come back. We come back. If you have something to add, come back. Really, no pressure. So why did I ask that question? One who restrains desire do so because their desire was weak enough to be restrained. So we're speaking about Tu B'Shvat. So there's something interesting about Tu B'Shvat. Why are we having a whole class on hug your tree today? Because in Devarim, in Sefer Deuteronomy, it says, Ki Adam Eitz HaSadeh. Man is the tree of the field. Man, many times throughout the Torah, is compared to a tree, right? You have the word, how do you say man in Hebrew? Ish. Ish is man, yeah. I'll give you a hint. What's the first man called? Adam, right? Adam. Right? The first man is called Adam, right? Which is the same word as Adama. Adama means ground, right? Why was Adam called Adam? Yes, very creative, because he was created from the ground. That is why he's called Adam. But any questions on that?
What does that mean?
That's a great question, right? What does that mean? Like, what am I going to call him, right? Huh?
Adama means ground.
Adama means ground, and Adam means man.
Okay, he was created from the ground because God wanted to connect man to physical and spiritual. Because Adam was created from the dirt and the grimes and whatever. Everything earth elemented. Okay?
Yes.
The elements of the earth.
Yes.
Okay. And then Eve, if we're going into it, Eve was created from the rib of one of his rib cages. So I learned this, my rabbi told me, the reason why women, so women are born 100% perfect. Why? Because we were born with part of Adam. So we're not from the dirt, we're not from the ground.
But we're also not
It's not
because Adam started out with 2 souls and then it separated it.
more than that. It says that Zachun Ukiva Baruto. I mean, Adam was created male and female. Man wasn't. Man is a general term for humankind, but Adam and Chava were created back to back, male and female, and then they were separated, different crafts. That's what soulmates mean. You find yourself back together again. But that's something different. They were created together back to back. What question do we have on the fact that Adam was created from the earth? Perhaps, well, I'm sure the rabbi wasn't lying. We can speak about it after class. But they were created, I can show in the Torah, they were created male and female together. And she was taken from his rib after they were split. Was anything else created from the earth? Trees. The animals. The plant. Really, everything was created. So why is Adam specifically, are we together so far? Why is Adam specifically given the name Adam? Because he was created from the Adama. We're all created from the Adama. Animals are also. So, Adama, man born from the ground, means what is land? Land is latent potential. Soil, dirt, earth. Ki Adam Eitz HaSadeh means man is born. We are a whole lump of latent potential. We are born completely animalistic. Okay, children have complete animalistic drives. My 3-year-old daughter, when she kicks and screams, it helps me. I say to myself sometimes, quietly, Chaviva, you're acting like a 3-year-old, right? Because she's actually 3 years old, and I put it in context. Like, yes, she's acting like a 3-year-old. She's doing what she's supposed to be doing. But as we mature and we slowly evolve, if you want to go Freudian a bit, right? We slowly evolve into human beings, and we have this ability within ourselves. And the idea that I'm happy we're all on the same page, and most of us are on the same page, right? Or this is just one idea to take away from it, is the only way I can restrain desire because my desire was weak enough to be restrained? Or can it possibly be the reason I restrain my desire is because I have the free will, and I have the ability, and I have the self-control because I am Adam. I have the ability to make yesh me'ein, something from nothing. I can take this ground, I can take this potential and make it into something. I can do something with it. Adam has the ability to be an Adama. Adama is also the same thing as why else is Adam called Adam other than Adama, the ground? Let's do it like this just to make it clear. Adam, right? So we have Adama is ground, and Adameh means similar. Adameh means similar because we have the ability to be Adameh, similar to God, to have God-like characters. So we have the ability to be similar to God. We have within ourselves infinite potential. which is why there's no Tu B'Shvat. There's no new year for the vegetables or for the grains. Adam, man, isn't compared to vegetables. We're compared to the tree. We're not compared to the 5 different grains. We're compared to the ground. Why? Wheat or a cucumber or a pepper. What you see is what you get. Any fruit that you take, did you know that it can be opened up and replanted, the seeds? Isn't that amazing, right? You don't know the infinite possibilities and potential that lie within each human being. A true story. It's really one of my favorite stories. There's a teacher named Mrs. Thompson, and she stood in front of her 5th grade class on the first day of school, and she told them something that all teachers tell their students, at least in grade 5, which is, I love you all the same, and you all mean the same to me. But that was a lie, because sitting there in the back seat was this boy named Teddy Stoddard. Okay, she's seen Teddy the years before, and he was a troublesome kid, right? She's heard teachers talking about him in the teacher's room, and he was there slumped in his seat, and he was a reckless child, and she basically had it in for him in the year, and it got to a certain point in the year, somewhere towards the beginning, where she got such satisfaction marking his papers with a big red marker and putting a big F on top of his paper. Good, I like that face, Hannah, thank you. Right? And then teachers, when you work in the school system, there's a responsibility to go through each child's folder from the years before. And she was going through each child's folder, and she put Teddy's off to the last. And when she opened her folder, she was in for a shock, because Teddy's 1st grade teacher wrote down, Teddy's a great boy, wonderful, a lot of energy, and very popular. Keep up the great work. This can't be Teddy. Teddy's 2nd grade teacher wrote, Teddy's a great kid and very popular. His mother's illness is taking a toll at home. Teddy's 3rd grade teacher wrote, situation is getting much worse at home. If someone doesn't do something, Teddy's going to be in trouble. And Teddy's 4th grade teacher wrote, the death of his mother has been very hard on Teddy. His grades are slumping and he's not showing up for classes. She put the paper down. She was ashamed of herself. And Teddy became one of her class pets. She stopped teaching arithmetic, she stopped teaching math, and she started realizing she's teaching children, she's teaching human beings. She felt even more bad when it was Christmas time in the school, and all of the students brought these colorful, wrapped gifts for her, and Teddy came in with a brown paper bag with a bracelet with rhinestones missing and a perfume bottle that was half empty. And all the students started laughing, but she said, this is amazing. She sprayed it on her and she wore the bracelet the rest of the day. And at the end of the day, Teddy said, Mrs. Thompson, you smell just like my mom used to. A year later, she gets a note under her door saying, Dear Mrs. Thompson, I just want you to know you're still the best teacher I've ever had. 6 years go by. And he says, Dear Mrs. Thompson, I just want you to know that times got tough, but I stuck it out and I graduated high school. You're still the best teacher I've ever had. Another 4 years went by. And he said, Dear Mrs. Thompson, I managed to get my undergrad and things are going good. You're still the best teacher I've ever had. Another 4 years went by and he said, Dear Mrs. Thompson, at times I was going to stop, but I pushed through. I remembered your words and I got my diploma. And signed was Dr. Teddy Stoddard, MD. Okay. A year later, she gets another note in the mail saying, Dear Mrs. Thompson, my father died a few years ago, and I met this wonderful woman. I want to know if you can walk me down the aisle, if you can sit in the place of the groom's mother by the wedding. And she said, I'd love to. And she came to the wedding, and she wore the perfume he gave her 15 years ago, and she wore the bracelet that he gave her. And as he comes to her right after the ceremony, he said, thank you for being the best teacher I've ever had and believing in me when no one else could. She said, thank you for teaching me what it means to be a teacher. Thank you for teaching me what it means to see someone for who they are. When we're saying Adam, Adama, Adam is like the ground. Adam is similar. It doesn't have to do with what someone's background is. It doesn't have to do with how much money someone's born into. All those things impact our lives. Adam is called, that's just one story of, you see there's latent potential that can be brought up. A child like that, and it could be, you know people, I definitely know people like that who are born into such broken homes that they've just gone on to perpetuate broken homes, right? What was it about him that he was able to go on, become a doctor and live a successful life? He had more success in his life? No. We have within ourselves the capability and the potential to do and to achieve whatever it is that we want to do and whatever it is that we want to achieve. Which is why Tu B'Shvat is the new year for the trees, because we don't know the infinite potential that lies inside, which is why we are compared to the trees. It's very interesting. When did I say Tu B'Shvat falls out in? January. The trees are blooming? No, right. What does it look like in January? Snow, cold. Even in Israel, it rains. And when it rains, they think that's snow, so they shut all the roads down, right? So it's rainy, it's cold, the trees are bare, and the ground is icy. What's Tu B'Shvat celebrating? It's life? There's no life. The potential for life. We've spoken about this when we spoke about Rosh Chodesh. If you remember, Rachel, the moon, the small moon by Rosh Chodesh. Judaism celebrates the potential and the process, not just the results. So why do we have Tu B'Shvat when we have Tu B'Shvat? Because we're celebrating the process and potential. You don't know what lies underneath that ground. And what are we doing when we choose, instead of choosing to be like Adama, instead of choosing to be just ground, we can choose to be Adama, we can choose to be similar, we can choose to take that dust, to take that earth and make it into something. We're breaking through that ground. That can mean we're breaking through my childhood pain, I'm breaking through my family situation, I'm breaking through my lack of money, I'm breaking through my inhibitions and my inabilities, disabilities. That's what it means. That why is Tu B'Shvat in January? That's what we're breaking through. Have you ever read the book, The Talent Code? No? By Malcolm Gladwell? Okay, it's one of my favorite books. It's basically the how is talent born, or are you born with talent, or is it something that you build? Okay, it's a whole book. But he basically brings in this man who's done a whole study. Any major success in any category, arts, business, etc., is the result of 10,000 hours of concentrated practice. Have you heard that rule before? The 10,000 hour rule? Right? Yes? No? Okay, just nod your head. Even no? Okay. So he says that in any field of work, in order to be successful, don't even think you'll be the best guitar player until you put in minimum 10,000 hours of work. Doesn't mean if I teach for 10,000 hours, I'll be a good teacher, right? Why I sat there and I'm teaching. But it means if I put in 10,000 hours of I'm teaching, then I'm evaluating my class. I even hired a personal cameraman so I can do reflections. Right, so it means I'm teaching, and then I'm reflecting, and then what worked, what didn't work, right? Guitar, I'm playing guitar 1 second. How can I do this better? Maybe I should cut my nail a little bit shorter. Maybe I should get a little thinner strings. Do I like electric? Do I like, right? Et cetera, et cetera. 10,000 hours of concentrated work, that's what breaks through ice. You can to break down a door, to break down a wall, right? You can knock in like 15 different places, right? Or you can knock in the same place a bunch of times. It'll be a lot more successful to break it down. The 10,000 hour rules is basically a life rule of breaking through whatever ice we have on top of ourselves and letting whatever adama, whatever ground is under there, sprout forth something, right? And you see that all over the place with most successful people. Do you know Dr. Seuss was rejected by 26 companies for his book? Right? What's his name? Robin Williams was voted in high school least likely to succeed. And I want to read a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. Michael Jordan, I love this quote. He wrote, I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I lost 300 games, right? Number 23. I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. Lost 300 games. 26 times, can you imagine? 26 times I was trusted to take the winning shot and missed. Right? I failed over and over again, and that's why I succeed. That's why I succeed. Tu B'Shvat is in January. It's in the ice, right? It's when I can't see what's going on underneath. That's when I'm developing and breaking through that. I want to make one more point. We'll finish with this. God commanded in Bereshit in Genesis, right? The first chapter, the 11th verse. He commanded the trees. He commanded the earth, make fruit trees bearing fruit. What's the implication of that? Make fruit trees bearing fruit. What question do you have on that?
Okay, yeah, it's logical. We make fruit trees to make fruit.
Here's the question: why would that have to be written down? It's so obvious. Like, why would that specifically have to be? Why?
Meaning, if you're a fruit tree, why are you bearing fruit?
No, I mean, like, obviously a fruit tree's gonna bear fruit. Why?
It's a fruit tree.
Right, like, why
is it?
Good question. That's our question. Like, why is it redundant almost? Like, why is it
like,
fruit?
duh, like, of course.
Right. Make an apple tree bearing tomatoes, right? Right? Good question. Hani, look like you're thinking.
No, but isn't like it's just like giving us guidelines that if the fruit tree can do what it's supposed to do, then why wouldn't we achieve our potential? Right? Like it makes sense. That's just it's like the guidelines of all of the mitzvahs, like what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. Like it's just something that's
So is basically God was commanding it what its job is?
well not really like the tree doesn't know what its potential is, but it reaches it naturally and we are too, right?
Yes. You're going a little esoteric here. So why would the commandment be fruit? You don't get what the verse means.
No, I get it, but it's like it's just one of those given things that you're supposed to just
Right. So.
never mind, let me
If
get
we're
it.
compared to a tree, if man's
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
if man's compared to a tree, right, and the tree can go up to its potential bearing fruit, right? Why can't we go up to our potential and bear our fruit, right?
So that's great because you're gonna love the answer. Yeah, Rachel.
I was just thinking, like, it's not obvious sometimes that a fruit tree is going to bear fruit because a lot of times, like, it needs a lot of work. Like, if you plant a fruit tree in, like, the wrong climate and you don't water it, it doesn't have enough sun, and it's surrounded by other plants that take all the nutrients away from it, then it won't grow. So it needs help. It's like work. It's hard work to grow a fruit tree and to make it bear fruit.
So you're saying it was basically commanded to work also?
No, it's like I think maybe it's saying like things can happen, but you can't just assume it's going to happen. You have to do something about it. You have to like help.
That's really nice. That's really beautiful. I like that idea, right? You have a fan club. We're all like, yeah, right? Yeah, meaning it's not just going to happen by itself. Don't take it for granted almost. And a lot of beautiful things were said. A lot of good questions were asked. I think we'll go to Rashi. We've heard of Rashi before, right? Well, basically is on every single page. Wow, we have 1 minute left. That, like, time flies, right? So Rashi has the same question that you all had, which is, fruit trees bearing fruit. God, what's with the redundancy? Or isn't that obvious? Or like, isn't that its job? What's the point? What does Rashi say? God commanded the earth, make a tree whose bark tastes like the fruit. Make a fruit tree, the leaves, the bark, the branches taste like fruit, that are bearing fruit that are also fruit. Is that clear? The tree was supposed to, the trees that we have now were originally supposed to taste, the bark was supposed to taste exactly like the fruit. Yeah?
Then what's the point of having the fruit on the tree?
So that's exactly what the trees thought. And we'll finish with this because I don't want to go over time, so I'm going to rush this, which is the trees thought, well, again, it's very deep. What does that mean, the trees thought, but not for right now, right? But just go with me. Believe everything that I'm saying without even using your brain, right? The trees thought, well, exactly what Ina said, which is, well, if the bark tastes exactly like the fruit, then there's going to be a lot less trees that are needed if they can just eat basically the tree. And so they didn't. That was actually the first original sin in Gan Eden, in the Garden of Eden. The trees didn't listen, and they made just trees that bear fruit. The bark didn't taste like it, except for the esrog tree, apparently. You cannot go up to a tree, take the leaf off, and just eat it, okay, unless you're Tarzan. It doesn't taste the same. What does the Maharal say, and we're finishing with this? The Maharal, who's a commentary on the Torah, says something so deep and so beautiful. And when we're speaking about potential, and we're speaking about breaking through the ground and breaking through the ice, and Adamah, the ground becoming Edameh, similar to God, right? we're speaking about that. What is the Maharal saying? Fruit trees bearing fruit means in life, the process, the movement, the journey, i.e. the tree and the bark and the leaves and the branches, the process is supposed to taste as sweet as the success. Meaning, getting my degree, becoming a doctor, becoming a teacher, becoming a secretary, whatever my goal is, getting there is supposed to taste as good, it's supposed to be as sweet as the actual journey, as the actual getting it itself. Okay, so when we're working through everything that we have within ourselves, when I'm trying to, I heard this class, I'm supposed to be digging through and figure out what my potential is and create myself from fresh, because I have the ability, right? When I restrain my desire, when I control myself, it's not just because, oh, my desire is weak. It's because that I'm a human being and I have free will. When I'm going on this whole process, it's supposed to be sweet. But it's not. The tree didn't make it like that. However, why am I telling you this? Because this journey of breaking through the ice and this journey of challenges is supposed to ideally be all-encompassing and not mutually exclusive, and not, now this is a journey and this is hard, but one day I'll get there. And with that paradigm, with that perspective of my life is organic in the sense that this is all working together, the challenges, the success, the failures, the winnings, right? What Michael Jordan said, all these failures are supposed to be part of the journey and they're not a separate part, right? When I'm working on myself and I don't see any results, that's January, that's Tu B'Shvat. That's the process, and that's supposed to be sweet too. Was that clear? Have a wonderful Shabbos, everyone.